I've already made a little mark for the center. I'm going to drill that out and then go to the next step. I'm going to use a pair of pliers to hold on to this. Okay, so I have the 1/4 inch hole through the cap. Alright, so after I sanded down the cap, I also sanded down the inside of the PVC pipe just to make it a little easier to get it in there. What I'm going to do now is put the cap alongside the PVC pipe, make a mark so I know the length of the cap, because what we want to do is after we put it in there, we're going to drill a hole through the side of it in order to keep the cap in place so it doesn't pop out. I was originally going to use an epoxy to hold it in place, but I figured if anything ever happened to the top part, I have a few other extras that I bought, and I could unscrew that, put a new one on if that happens to break off or something. So all I would need to do is unscrew the screw here and then pop the cap out and replace it. So I'm going to put that cap on and then go to the next step. So I'm going to use a hammer that's a little bit softer in order to not damage the screw. I'm going to actually try to hit it along the edge there. If that doesn't work, then I'll have to hit it on there, but you could also put a little block of wood on there so not to damage the screw. I'm just kind of turning it as I go. It is pretty tight on there, so it will be pretty hard to get off, I think, if I ever needed to. It looks like that's on there all the way. Alright, so now I have my mark that I made. That's the end of the cap, so I'm going to make a little mark just slightly above that to be able to drill through the cap inside. Alright, so I'm going to drill. I made a little mark about the halfway point between the end of the PVC pipe and that little mark that I made. Countersink that hole a little bit. I'm kind of doing this as I go. I know what I want to do. I've never built this before. Alright, that's on there pretty good. Like I said, the screw came through almost flush, so that will work. So what I'm looking to do with this part is I measured from the end of the PVC pipe 18 inches. I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole all the way through, and then I'll be able to put a screw through to mount my phone on the end of it. I use the phone as a monitor for the gimbal stick, or I can also use it if I don't want to use the gimbal. I can use the GoPro app and just mount my GoPro at the end of it and use the GoPro app to control my camera. Because I really don't want anything sticking out, the other screw sticks out a little bit too far. I think I'm going to get a file the one side down so that tapered screw will fit in there a little bit more flush, and see how it goes from there. Right, so as you can see, I filed that down. It's pretty flush with the PVC now. I didn't want anything sticking out when I'm holding onto the PVC pipe. simply drill a 1/4-inch hole through the PVC pipe and put a washer and a nut on the end. Now you'll be able to use a female end receiver for a camera mount, or if you use the coupling on the outside, you can actually screw that on. Now you can mount your male end into the receiver, and this is a better quality mount anyway, because this can adjust in multiple ways. Next thing to do on this is to sand it down. It got a little rough from drilling holes and things. Then get either a tack cloth or a damp cloth, wipe it down, let it dry, and then spray paint it. So after sanding, I almost forgot I wanted to put a cap on the end of the pole. I'm going to put some crazy glue on there, slide it on, tap it on with a hammer, and that will be all set. It's really only for looks. It might stop your hand from sliding off the bottom of the hole because there is a little bit of a ridge there, but that's the next step before painting. So before I paint, just wanted to make sure that everything fits properly. You just take your gimbal and screw it on the end. Now you have 5 feet more extension to get some really cool shots. If you don't have a gimbal, you can also use this for your GoPro. Just simply take the GoPro mount and screw it right on the top. So before painting, make sure you wrap any of the parts that you don't want painted with some painter's tape, especially on the screws. I also have the screw wrapped for the phone mount that I'll be using for my monitor.